I'm actually going to start this episode with a very controversial hot take. There is no such thing as a summer read.
Chaya stole my Cersei. I was actually up late last night looking for it. This morning I was very twitchy. I said, do you happen to have it? Is it there? You kind of said no. I went out and saw a few messages declaring, I am a thief! I've stolen it!
I have been so angry for so many weeks about this.
Unpopular opinion, summer is the best time to read difficult books. I'm going to show you some books that I don't think will be on everyone's summer reading list because they are more difficult, but I've read them over summers and loved them all. What I loved, Siri Hustved. Okay, do not let the teeny weeny size of the font put you off, guys. I'm telling you, I read this over a summer. A lot of it was in various car journeys, but yet I was absolutely hooked. It's about two families, their love of art, the families growing up together. It's really hard to explain it, but it is a story that has stayed with me forever. The writing is exquisite, and yes, it's more difficult, but trust me, it's worth it. I got many odd looks on the beach while I was reading Children of Men in Greece. Not a lot of people would pick this up as their summer read, but I think a book like this is perfect for summer when you've got a bit more headspace to process, I guess, more difficult topics. It's dystopian. There hasn't been a child born in the world for 25 years. It is seriously tough reading at points, and yet, by the sea, on the sunbed, I think I loved it more than I would have had I been at home sitting on my sofa. Remains of the Day. Read it by the sea. It's stayed with me ever since. And no, it is not what you'd call an easy read. In some parts, it feels a little bit dense, maybe even slow, you might say. But this is arguably one of the greatest novels ever written. And for me, summer was the absolute best time for it. Lastly, Alias Grace. It's pretty damn hefty. And yeah, there are a lot of chapters, a lot of pages. And it's a story about a maidservant who gets found guilty of a crime. And this book assesses whether or not she did it. It seems in parts factional. This is a murder that did happen. But these characters, these people are brought to life by none other than my favourite, Margaret Atwood. I've got to tell you, it's one of the best books I've ever read. And I don't think I could have read it at any other time than summer.
You may have read yesterday's bestseller, Yesteryear, which is surely going to be on every beach in the world. Now I have 4 books that I wish were on every single summer reading list, and yet I don't see them. Akwaeke Emezi's You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. This is the most evocative, beautiful book, full of yearning, of love, of grief. They are the most phenomenal author. Their prose is like poetry. If you haven't read any of their work, start here and then go to The Death of Vivek Oji. Your life will never be the same. Dystopia / thriller / absolutely compelling. The Carriers. This is a proof by Ruth Newton. How much would you pay never to feel again? There is a company that can take away all emotions. I cannot tell you the propulsivity of this book is off the charts. And finally, because we like a range in the Bibliofilles community, I know it's clunky, but you're going to want to schlep it around everywhere. Daggermouth is dystopian. It's as if The Hunger Games and The Handmaid's Tale made a child. It is phenomenal. H.M. Wolfe has created a book that was hugely popular when it was self-published, and now it comes to traditional publishing. I have saved this as a present to myself for getting through the year. Definitely pick this one up.
Hello and welcome to the Bibliofilles podcast. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Chaya.
And before we get started today, I would just like, on behalf of both of us, to take the time to say thank you for making the time to listen to our podcast. If you like what we do here, please make sure you follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our channel, and tune in wherever you get your podcast.
And we should say, in relation to Substack, Sophie, that we have just launched the most exciting thing on our Substack, which is our Falling Further Elite Literary Companions.
You are right.
That have become our obsession. They're basically our child, our joint
They
child
are
that we have given birth to.
Our shared child. They have, I mean, we have put in, I can't think how many hours of work has gone into the very first one. But if you subscribe to our Substack as a paid subscriber, you will get access to our first Falling Further guide on the Odyssey and all Falling Further guides going forwards. So yeah, I mean, you're basically winning.
And if Substack isn't for you, maybe you're a student who wants to pretend that they've read the classics for an essay, buy it. You can buy it on our website, but it's just something that I'm ostensibly proud of. But I have to say that this is such an important episode for me because I have been so angry for so many weeks about this. Like all the lists, Sophie.
All the lists. I mean, we're wearing our sunglasses and I actually think I might have to take mine off now, although I do like wearing them, but it's time. We're talking about summer reads, hence the sunglasses. And if you're on social media or quite frankly, read any form of media, you will see that there have been summer reading lists everywhere. It's really hard to actually escape from them.
I agree. And I mean, I think I saw 3 this morning before I half opened my eyes. I really need to get off my phone. They're all the same books.
There are a lot of the same books and there are also a lot of the same covers. And actually, I think it's great to have lists. There are lists, I think they have really useful properties to them. And they're important because, you know, life's busy. Let someone else do the work for you and present you with a list that will work for your summer reading. I get that. However, I have an issue with summer reading lists because I feel like often they're very much the same, one after the other after the other.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to start this episode with a very controversial hot take before we get to what this episode is going to contain. There is no such thing as a summer read. There are books that taste like summer, that smell like sunscreen, like the waves wash over you. But I fundamentally reject the idea that someone else gets to decide what's a summer read. I want gothic, atmospheric, like fiction. I want non-fiction. Like, exactly when is the time for feminist non-fiction? I want to know.
When is that time of year? All year, I think you would say. But I also, you know, from my own personal perspective, I love reading kind of, I guess what you might describe as more heavyweight books during the summer. One of my favourite ever summer reads was this. I'm just going to rummage through my pile. It was Children of Men by P.D. James. This is a book essentially about the human race facing distinction. No child has been born for 25 years, and our main character, Theo, is the cousin of the despotic ruler at the time. And this is about the agonizing choices that he faces and how he handles his rather, I don't know what the word is. I mean, he's a despot. He's like a dictator cousin at a time when the world is in utter crisis.
Yeah.
So it's not what everybody is picking up to read on their sunbed. And I get that.
Yeah, that's not giving
summer.
summer
But for me, it totally
vibes.
works. And I just can't imagine it being on many a summer reading list. But
Well,
that's fine for me.
You say that, but Lin-Manuel Miranda, like, I see you, Beach Read, and I raise you the 832-page biography of Alexander Hamilton that Lynn read in Mexico by Ross Chernow, like by Ron Chernow, bless him. An amazing, amazing historian. And that led to Hamilton. Like, exactly what is a summer read? Now, I think my predictions, and then we're going to get to our summer reads, what we're taking, kids' summer reads.
Yes.
Like, this is
the importance of summer reads.
Oh, absolutely. You've got some amazing data on that I was reading through.
Yes.
When I was reading through our notes because we are so prepared. I was like, gosh, I did not know anything about that. So we've got some amazing kids recommendations as well because free babysitting. Hello. Okay, prediction. Any beach and pool this summer is going to have one of the following. Yesteryear, right? In my stack here, 100%.
Oh, off campus in some form. And I actually have one somewhere in this pile, The Mistake, book 2 of the series. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you
But I
love
think
him.
it will be book 3 in it will be series 3 for the TV show.
Any plane, train, bus will have a Frida McFadden.
I think they'll be front and centre of every
Without
airport's
question.
T.G. Jones.
Famesick by Lena Dunham is a memoir that I think everyone's going to be reading.
You mentioned you think the Carly Fortune novels will be
100%.
everywhere. And we were discussing before, I think so many of the Greek retellings are going to be coming back to the fore. I mean, a lot of them have already had that second huge wave from TikTok after they were originally published. But with the release of the Odyssey, I think we're going to see those really all over the beach this summer.
100%.
And I'm delighted, quite frankly.
Oh, I mean,
because I think a lot of
anytime.
those do not fit what people would describe as a typical summer read.
No,
in some ways
it doesn't. And I think 2 books that are getting a lot of attention. One is Melissa Albert, The Children, which I think has been all over, like just social media, but also like in like newspaper lists and like magazines. And friend of the podcast, Finding Grace by Loretta Rothschild.
yes.
It's right in
Where
front
is
of
that?
you.
I'm gonna
It's the
knock
most
it all down.
for anyone watching, it's the most beautiful cover that you'll be able to see. I will describe it to podcast listeners. It's like very artistic, 2 girls' faces. And I mean, Loretta's book is just, we are very much confronting the whole notion of summer reads, but I think it is a book that I could see so many people enjoying in the summer.
Well, it sounds fascinating because I included it in a post of things that I wanted to read this summer, and we'll be coming back to that post in a minute and the comments I received. But the people who'd read this book, because I put it up there on the carousel, they were wild about it. I think they said the first chapter is so brilliant and sort of the most compelling thing they'd read in ages. So I think that sounds like a pretty solid one. It's about, I think our main protagonist is called Honor, and from the sounds of it, her life is essentially picture perfect. Everything looks wonderful. She's got a lovely husband. He works a lot, but she is desperate for another baby. And I think that is the seed for what happens next. He makes a decision that will change everything, and then the consequences will unfold, and Honor's life and that of another woman will become intrinsically intertwined in a way that it sounds like they cannot be pulled apart. So I'm fascinated.
That was not a paid ad. I just want to say, I love the way that you speak about books so much.
Well, I mean, I wish I'd read this one, but I mean, I'm just saying, because it's really sold itself to me, and I've heard great things from other people, so there we go.
And they were in the comments on your summer reads post, and the joke is, obviously, we did a summer reads post. We're like, girls, I thought you just said you don't agree with it. Well, we jumped on the train, and actually, we then confronted it because my summer read post had books, and the comments were saying to me, like, I love this because there's dystopia, there's romance, there's a thriller, there's non-fiction. So I had 7 Days in June, the most yearning romance ever. I had Murder Bimbo, which is like satiric and witty, and it's about a murder and it's political. I had Call Me By Your Name, we're going to get to 100 Years of Solitude, and a Dostoevsky. I'm sorry, I'm a mood reader. Seasons don't change that.
No, I totally feel that. And I think when we talk about summer reads, what I did when I posted about this topic on Instagram, I wasn't talking about books I'd read over the summer. It was just a load of books that I wanted to read this summer. And it was so interesting because the responses from those who viewed it were really varied. There were some people who just sort of, they commented on what books they'd read there and loved, but others who specifically tapped into the season, the fact that I'd mentioned summer reading. Some people said East of Eden, which is one I've meant to read for forever. Some said, no, you don't want to read this in the summer. This is a winter book. It's an autumnal read. You need to read this by a fire in the dark. Absolutely no way are you getting that on the beach. I found that really interesting, like how we really do have this ingrained idea of the type of thing we should read this summer. And I do sometimes think that most people are on the same page in terms of what that should be. I think it's often lighter books. I think it's books that are, as we said, they all look the same, but there is something to that.
There's an escapist quality.
Yeah, an escapist quality. And I actually think sometimes, on the flip side, I know I say I like to go deeper and often read things that are not conventionally summer, but sometimes I think that calling something a summer read actually can maybe cheapen it a little as well.
Oh, that is a very controversial
Do you know what I
take.
mean?
I do. I absolutely
some of the
do.
Taylor Jenkins Reid books, like they'll always be
I've
like
got one here.
summer read. But I actually think they hold a lot more weight than what one might feel a summer read should be.
Yeah.
I just think there's like this frothy quality that most people think is a summer read, and actually,
so true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because people talk about like yearning romances. One would, and I've seen a few James Baldwins. I'm like, that's not. As in, that's a phenomenal, important classic. But yes, Andre Assman is not a frothy book, but it's all over the summer list.
and it is for me a perfect summer read.
You had a really interesting point that you made to me when we were discussing this episode about, because Sophie has a background in publishing, you were like, the corporate aspect behind this is that it's like a product calendar.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't have an issue with lists, as I said. It's not a problem for me. But I think the point is that ultimately this is very much generated by the industry. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. In fact, most industries work on a seasonal basis. Look at fashion. You know, the way you've got Fashion Week, you've got collections coming out. You know, we hear about what's coming out in the summer way before it does. Like, that's just how, I guess, is it the corporate wheel works. And books ultimately get put into the season where a publisher thinks they're going to sell the most. That is true.
It is arbitrary.
And if you think about it, books that come out in the wintertime are often those ones, the autumn, winter, post-summer, are often those ones that are weightier, the ones that they think might be the heavy hitters, and the ones that come out in summer might be those lighter, frothier books. So when you're looking at release dates, that's actually a key point of this, because I'm telling you that I like to read P.D. James. I can also tell you that one of my favourite reads of last summer was Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. But I would bet a significant amount of money that that is not a book that would ever be released during the summer, because it's not something that would fit probably the publishing bill for what would come out then and then be picked up then.
That is so interesting. We were actually, when we were looking at lists to collate this episode, we're going to move on in a minute to the very interesting data on summer reading before we get to some unbelievable recommendations. But Sophie spotted the most hilarious thing, which was we're not going to name names, DM us and we'll tell you.
That was funny, wasn't it?
Go on.
Okay, so I was looking... I mean, we talked about the proliferation of lists, but it's got insane. And actually, you can have the same publication, blogger, Instagrammer, all manner of people, publications putting out lists. And they are putting out not just one list, so many lists. And summer reading lists that have an angle. So it might be summer reads perfect for the beach, summer reads perfect for, I don't know what, by the pool, but all different ones. And there was one where basically the same 2 or 3 books were in lists that were entirely contradictory.
Hysterical. It was the same author.
Yes.
Deborah Levy. I read that on the island of Kefalonia, and the cover is this girl like diving into the water. And I had, where I was staying, a cove that we could dive into from the pool, and it looked exactly like it. It was 3 Days of Heaven. Just going to put that out there.
But that book was on the same 2 lists, but it was basically put out there as doing 2 very different things and just shoved on 2 lists by the same publication. It was just a bit like, come on, guys, it's not that hard to see what's going on here. But it's funny you should mention that, because I do think there is something when it comes to summer reading, and I guess I'm not trying to contradict myself here, but there is something that I personally like, and it definitely doesn't apply to Children of Men, but there is something lovely about reading a book in a setting and finding yourself in a not too different setting over the summer, as you say with the Deborah Levy book. Do you remember that book I rave about? It's called The Swimmers by Julie Otsuka, and it's all about a swimming pool in a community, it's a community pool, and there's this group of swimmers. They don't really interact with each other until the swimming pool starts to crack at the bottom. And it's sort of so symbolic about the community and how people engage with one another and the impact of that. I always say this is I think it's one of the most underrated books ever. It's certainly one of the best short reads that I've ever read. And for me, I can remember so clearly reading it and my feeling about reading it because I happened to be reading it by a swimming pool, which is what it's all about. So there is something to that I think is a nice summer reading vibe, I suppose.
Absolutely. And I think the summer, for people that don't read, and if anyone's listening to this that thought, do you know what? I don't really read books. Give me some reading recommendations for summer. We have you completely down. Like, we've got the elevated Frida McFaddens, we've got the romance, we've got the thrillers, but there is a really important point here about children and children's reading that absolutely plummets in the summer.
In the summer. I think there's kind of two aspects to this. Like many adults, as you've said, Chaya, summer is when they read. It just is. There isn't another time of year where they can get a chunk, however long it may be, of perhaps unbroken time. But equally, many do not get that opportunity at all. So it's really important to recognise that. Like we say, oh, summer reads, we're not all going off on holiday. That's just not how this works. But summer often, it can well be a quieter time when you may have a bit of extra time to read. Now, when it comes to kids, that is a time like uninterrupted of no school, which is a big jump at sort of primary age. And I looked at it more at primary age, but I know that the minute school is out, I'm guilty of it too. Like the kids can have the TV on and there's more freedom and it's less routine. It's different. We're not getting those school reading books every week that we get, which, to be honest, in my opinion, are really quite tedious. And I struggle with them because I find them boring. And I much prefer to give my kids books to read that are kind of things that they're interested in. But the point is, if kids don't read over the summer, it can really affect them. And I actually wasn't aware of this until I started Googling summer reading, because the first thing that came up was actually related to kids in primary school.
So it was foundational research, meta-analysis by Cooper and colleagues, I believe, that pulled 39 separate studies, and on average, children came back to school in autumn testing about a month behind, which
it's quite massive,
it's
really.
massive, especially with the younger kids. Like with my daughter, she's just both children just switched from being non-readers to readers overnight. It was very like it was just a moment, and I will give you the book that I think is incredibly important for children to read. It just is the bridge between picture books. But researchers looking at this, I think it's kindergarten through 8th grade, found there's unequal access to reading.
Yeah.
Books are a luxury as well.
They are. And they call this the summer slide, this idea that, you know, if it's not maintained, you're just going to find yourself almost, I sort of envisage it as, you know, climbing up a slide and then just not being able to reach it. So there's real data behind that. It's not just an opinion. There's a lot of different schemes and programs that have actually been set up to deal with the summer slide. And there's one which I found out about called Read to the Beat, which is actually powered by Universal, as in Universal Music Group UK. And kids collect like stickers, medals, certificates, and they get prizes from corporate partners, etc. It's like this gamification of reading. And Stormzy is somebody who said that he really tapped into that as a kid. He did these reading schemes as a child, and it wasn't about loving reading. It was actually about, you know, he wanted the badges. But actually that, you know, Stormzy now has his own publishing imprint, doesn't he? So there you go. I guess he's a kind of case in point in a way.
Absolutely. Murky Books. I love their books. I mean, we have talked about the gamification of reading. I think that was in our episode on optimization. We've also done that. Like we've previously mentioned it, how jarring we find it when it's like, Goodreads, you must get to this amount. It's like you're taking the joy out of this. But with kids,
I think there really might be something in it, especially
Absolutely.
competitive kids as well.
Oh my God, my son would be all on that. The book in my house that my friend Miriam recommended was The 13-Story Treehouse by Andy Griffith. It's the perfect bridge between picture books and chapter books. My son read the entire series, I think, in 4 days. And then he's like, right, Mummy, I'm ready. For older kids, Catherine Rundle, you cannot go wrong with Impossible Creatures. And I also want to shout out someone that I've connected with on Instagram who I really enjoy her posts. It's Claire Linney's Time Tub Travelers. And I just think she talks a lot about diversity in reading and the importance of children seeing themselves reflected in the books that they read. And her books are magnificent.
I mean, I could go on for ages talking about which books my kids have read and loved. But I mean, Lottie Brooks is one that always sort of appears over the summer and I know is hugely, hugely popular. It's a diary series, which, you know, I think my middle child definitely loves a diary book. And then as they've got a bit older, there's things like The Summer I Turned Pretty, there's that series, but we're going into preteen and teen territory, which would be a whole other podcast altogether. But we'll probably, we'll put some ideas in the show notes as well of like books for ages, or we should actually do something on that, I reckon.
I think so. So we head to Books with a Summer Atmosphere, which I think...
But when we say summer atmosphere, we're not contradicting ourselves. It's books we want to read over the summer. Like, as in, because is it the summer atmosphere? Like,
yes. Our notes have, they use heat, summer, or exposure as pressure rather than escape.
Oh, so we're actually going down that road of saying,
yes.
like, okay.
And the first one is one of my favourite books, and we've both got it in front of us.
Is it this one?
It's You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by
I loved that book.
They are a phenomenal author. They wrote The Death of Vivek Oji, which was...
What a book.
A book I could talk about forever.
Also massively underrated.
I know.
Brilliant book. I actually do think I preferred this one though.
Did you?
Yeah, I read this over the summer. It was very much that kind of hot, steamy, but like really gripping story about a woman falling in love with someone who she couldn't really have, basically.
Yes, but it's so much more than that.
Totally. And the writing is exquisite.
Oh, Emezi is a poet almost, and there's yearning. I mean, it's beautifully written. It's all about community and home and love and grief and finding oneself. There's obviously every list, and I do have to praise these lists for this, mention the Ferrante novels.
Yes. I mean, I loved them all. Yeah. I mean, they're just, it's the setting, it's the nostalgia, it's the relationship between the characters. It's the fact that they're very easy reads, but they are not in any way, I don't like to use the word trashy, but you know what I mean? Like you feel like you're reading quality, but it's actually very, very easy to get through.
Absolutely.
They're so readable. And also there's 4 of them. So it's quite nice to get through one, then the other, then the other.
And I think they're really elevated literary fiction.
Yeah.
Ferrante and Anne Goldstein's translation, I think, is like, it's transportative, like as much as it's narrative. You're reading about the Naples heat and you're carrying it. I actually really wish that I could read it in Naples.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. There really is something to that. Like, can we not sort something out where we choose books based on location and then we get to just read them there?
I think that we are owed a 6-month trip
Maldives
to the Greek islands because of the Odyssey.
Oh my gosh, we so
Don't
are.
you think
6 months.
we could
there a year. We could island hop.
And we could update our Falling Further guides.
Yes, exactly.
Look, this is Ithaca.
Yeah, here we are. Be so good.
If anyone would like to sponsor this episode,
yeah,
British Airways, we're with you.
Here
we will do the Odyssey island hopping. Call Me By Your Name is another one with a Mediterranean setting doing everything for the book, and I'm actually holding The Gentleman from Peru. Anyone watching, I mean, look at that cover.
I love it, and I
it's
loved
very
that
evocative.
book. And I loved that book. I haven't read Call Me By Your Name, but I know you're always like, read it. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, do you have it?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Do you want to borrow it?
Well,
I did steal one of your books by mistake.
By mistake. Chaya stole my Circe. I was actually up late last night looking for it, and she said she'd look for it, and then she didn't get back to me. So this morning I was very twitchy. I said, do you happen to have it? Is it there? As in, I've been looking for it all night because I have issues. And you kind of said no, and then I went out and saw a few messages declaring, I am a thief. I've stolen it.
Yeah, because I packed it away from one of our episodes. With all due respect, like, I don't need your Circe.
No,
darling.
I know you've got a better version, but yet you still stole it.
And why is it better?
Because it's signed.
No, it's not just signed. What does it say?
I don't know. You can say it.
Miller calls me a force for good in the world and a witch. Madeline Miller, if you ever need anything, you call me forever.
No, but I think all of those Greek retellings are going to be ones that are now going to be massive.
Oh yeah, totally. Miller's everywhere. You also mentioned What I Loved by Siri Husfeld.
I loved that book. That is serious literary fiction though, but I devoured it on a summer's, in the car over a summer.
I cannot read in the car.
No, but I think when it's that good, you can. And there is nothing in this that you'd think, this is precisely the point. I don't think any list would say What I Loved by Siri Husfeld is a summer read.
Right.
But for me, having the headspace over whether it's a few days away. Like that creates the climate for a good read for me. So that's why something like this, which is more serious literary fiction, is perfect for that time in the summer.
Absolutely. And the last one I think is very evocative of the summer that I posted about, and we had such a gargantuan response. It's a much older novel, and it's by Ray Bradbury, and it's called Dandelion Wine, and it was written in 1957, and it's set in a fictional town of Greentown. It's the first in his trilogy, and the title refers to a wine made from dandelion petals, and the main character is a 12-year-old boy, loosely patterned after Bradbury, and like people just say they feel like they're lying in a field of dandelions when they're writing it.
How lovely. There is a book that we both adored a few summers ago, and it's called Welcome to Glorious Tuga by Francesca Siegel. This one's the first in a trilogy.
Yeah.
So the first two are out. I'm not sure when the last installment is, but again, for me, I don't know that we must have read it in a summer. We must have, but it's perfect to take away, I think. But again, like I think this one would be on many summer reading lists. This one more typically would fit the bill. I mean, just look at the cover. It's all about the summer.
Yeah.
It's all about that beautiful climate and escapism, and that's what the author's doing. You open it, there's a map of the island of Tuga. Like this is what many would describe as a perfect summer read.
I agree.
And it was, but my point is that it could be this book that's your perfect summer read, or it could be Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood that's your perfect summer read.
And you've got Heart the Lover, which is going to be everywhere. Come on. That's going to be everywhere, that book.
Well, this book is on one level a great summer read, but also not. It's very short. I finished it within an hour of getting on the plane. Like, that's not ideal, is it? But, oh my gosh, absolutely loved it and would implore anyone to read it.
Absolutely. We've said that there's going to be Frida McFadden's everywhere. And if you're listening and you love Frida McFadden, we are not going to disparage her. I have so many friends that find them so easy, so accessible, so quick to read, so breathtakingly propulsive. But I have some other options for you.
Go on.
So Little Monsters, again, cover is so evocative.
Sorry, can I just say that cover is the Paper Palace?
It
It is the same.
I know.
I mean, I want to pull up the Paper Palace. Annoyingly, I don't have it here. Another good one for the summer. That cover is the same.
I know. So Little Monsters by Adrian Broder is set in Cape Cod, and every member of the Gardner family is hiding a secret. You've got Ken, who's got political ambitions, caught in an internet chat room. Abby is shamed to still depends on her brother's goodwill to sustain her life as an artist. Their father's an oceanographer. Then there's a new person on the periphery. It's like secrets.
Sorry, I'm now going to show this because it's ridiculous how alike this is, and I'm quite annoyed I didn't bring it. But look.
Yeah.
It's so similar. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, I can't get it bigger. But I mean, I do find that fascinating. It's obviously, that's a summer read vibe cover, and now we're going to put it on another book. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Isn't that the line?
Yes.
Or whatever.
Frida McFadden fans, check out Lucy Foley, check out Gillian Flynn, but I want to implore you to read My Sister the Serial Killer.
That is such a brilliant book. I loved that book. I read it ages ago, but it's so good.
And don't you think thriller readers and like readers of Frida McFadden, like propulsive, like funny, clever, witty books?
It's really funny. That
very
dark
funny.
humour really
very
got me.
twisted. You will love it. It's about a woman whose sister is a serial killer, and she has to kind of clean up after her. And it is so brilliant that you will just not be able to look up, and the kids will be running around, and you'll just have to let them deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great one. If you haven't read it, I really loved it.
I did as well. I have to say, going back to the retellings, one book that I very distinctly remember reading on a beach was Clytemnestra by Constanza Castillo, and it was phenomenal. If you have gone through Madeline Miller, you're like, girls, we've been following you for ages. We've read Madeline Miller like 2021. Like, girls, get with the picture.
We're so behind.
Like, look at Natalie Haynes, look at Ariadne, Jennifer.
I think Pat Barker's phenomenal, and I know she's been around for a while. But I actually read Silence of the Girls before I read any Madeline Miller.
Did you?
Yeah. And I absolutely adored that book. I think it's an incredible retelling. What's so brilliant is how, these authors pick relatively unknown characters. I mean, obviously there's Circe, who is well known, but still a very small part of the Odyssey in relation to the whole breadth of the text. But I love Pat Barker's Silence of the Girls because it gives Briseis a voice. And in the Iliad, like, she basically doesn't have one. And I just think that books like that work so brilliantly at any point of the year, because I like to feel that sometimes, not always, that I am kind of learning something as well. And I did really feel that I took away a lot from those books from a kind of learning perspective as well.
Absolutely.
Is there any book, because I think about this sometimes, that you would, without hesitation, if someone said, I'm going away or I've got some time off for whatever reason over the summer, is there any book that you would, without hesitation, recommend? Because I have one that I think I always recommend, and I actually think I need to stop recommending it.
Is it Romantic Comedy by Curtis?
It's Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld.
I knew you were going to say that.
I always recommend this book. It's one of those ones that I feel anybody would love, and I would recommend it at any time of year. But I think if it's not on summer reading lists, I guess in my mind, it's a perfect.
You love that book.
Really do. I really love it. And I would, if you're going away this summer and you don't know what to read, and I haven't already told you to read this one, please allow me to now tell you, read this book. It is so, so excellent. It's got a real Saturday Night Live vibe to it. So the main protagonist is Sally. She's a scriptwriter for a fictionalized version of Saturday Night Live. So that's a TV comedy show. And when this younger, very attractive pop icon comes on the show as a guest, the story moves in a very interesting trajectory, and there's a COVID element. This was written at that time. But yeah, I just think it's a fun, interesting, and really brilliantly written book by Curtis Sittenfeld, who I love.
Going back to what I was saying, so Jennifer St. Ariadne, I don't know if I gave you her full name, and one book for Greek retelling that has just come out that I think everyone should read is Andromeda by E.S. MacLeod, and it's all about Andromeda's life in the Ethiopian palace walls. And I think the Greek retelling industry is also quite, it's interesting in the authors that get a lot of space and time. And what I loved about this, it's a retelling and it's a reclaiming of the most famed whitewashed woman in Greek mythology.
Really?
And E.S. MacLeod has absolutely grasped that nettle and gone, do you know what? Like, I need to do this. I need to take this back. And it's just phenomenal. It's so clever as well. I am taking this summer Dagamouth.
I've got that here. I'm
So
thinking
have I.
about it. It's just very, very big, as in
I know,
hefty.
it's
a
clunky.
problem with the cases and stuff.
I don't care about problems with cases because everyone's just going to have to deal with the fact that I take 10 books. I'm taking Dagamouth. It's dystopian. It's ish romantasy, a blend of Hunger Games and Fourth Wing maybe, but not with dragons. I'm not sure I'm very excited. I'm taking the Brothers Karamazov because I have not read that. I'm also taking The Master and Margarita for my classical reading. I am taking The Age of AI by Henry Kissinger, Eric Schmidt and Daniel Huttenlocher. And it's all about AI, which is fundamentally transforming society. They say not since the Enlightenment and the Age of Reason has our world changed so much. I'm going to take Whistler because I know you loved that.
I loved that
By
book.
Anne Patchett. A new Colson Whitehead I'm going to take.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take feminist nonfiction.
Just the whole genre.
The whole genre. I think I'm going to take Girls by Sophie Gilbert, which I loved, but I haven't finished yet.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to take The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood.
That's your treat.
Yeah. I ration her books, one a year. That's this year's one. I'm going to be annoying, but there are a couple of books that aren't out yet, and I do really want to read those proofs. The new Barbara Kingsolver, Partita. And I also want to read We Go Way Back by Niamh Connolly, which we got a copy of when we went to the Women's Prize, which I think sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
And the new Meg Mason, which I want to read. It's called Sophie Standing There. So
After you.
After me, casual. I've got a few, sorry, and I've missed the one I most want to read, The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. Like, this is actually the very first romance book that I have bought, and I've not read it yet. And I'm really excited. And I mean, I'm not even going to read what I've opened it on because it's not appropriate. You can't even imagine. Page 52. Okay. Anyway, that is for my holiday. I think I've got red.
I can't believe you're reading romance.
I'm going to read it.
Going back, I'm going to talk about this book again. I am. And readers, you probably have heard me talk about it ad nauseum, and that's fine. But I was sitting in a hammock in Florida with my parents, no children, and I was laughing, and I was having probably one of the best days of my life. And people kept on asking me, what are you reading? And they were so horrified by my response. And I did not care. In fact, I salivated over their disdain because A Certain Hunger, and I bought it, look at the cover. This is the food critic that eats her boyfriends and she's a cannibal. And it's about sex and politics and fashion and culture, and it's amazing, and about gender, and it's a virtuoso storytelling. And I read it over a few days because I was literally sitting by a pool. I was very lucky. I was on my own, and I had the most wonderful time.
But I think that's the point, isn't it? When we take into account summer reads, there are always going to be these lists. But I think the point is, sure, look at the list, and the lists serve an important purpose. But, read what you want to read over the summer. Like, you know, what is a summer read? What is a typical summer read may just not be your thing. And that is more than okay. I'm very much someone who falls into that camp. And I'm cool with it. Like, it's fine.
And so is Lin-Manuel Miranda. And that's why we have Hamilton.
Exactly.
So, can you imagine if you would walk past him and he's reading an 832-page book? You'd probably have spots of talking to him.
He could have been reading L. Kennedy. See, this will be on summer reading list. And that's okay too. Mix it up. Do what you have to do.
Yeah, the off-campus books are going to be everywhere.
They're going to be everywhere.
And also Frida McFadden. She's going to have a nice summer.
That will last through winter, through spring, because we'll all be waiting for the next show with bated breath. So there you go.
I can't wait for us to do the mental 3 a.m. podcast episode post-binging the second series.
We always say, it won't happen. We'll be much more organised next time. We obviously will not.
No, we absolutely won't. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, which we hope has given you a huge array of recommendations across all genres.
And some reassurance. Just read what makes you feel good.
You do you. And thank you for
summer.
listening.